for the first time really to witness such suffering and oppression and have these people still thank God. I was like, wow, that is like a faith that I never knew existed. For example, if it's like cloudy outside, I'm like maybe would have used to wake up and be like, oh, what a grey day, and like now it's just like I'm grateful to like wake up. If it is willed and decreed for me to memorize the Quran, that would be amazing. But I would
Wow,
definitely
okay. Inshallah. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that honor. The following is a conversation with Megan from Manchester, who shares her journey to Islam. Initially a skeptic, Megan was deeply inspired by the people of Palestine and their unwavering faith. After a period of extensive research and reading, she discovered Islam and found it to be truth. In this interview, Megan reflects on her personal journey, the experiences that led her to Islam, and the profound impact her newfound faith has had on her life. Join us as we explore her inspiring story of transformation and the power of faith.
So I am from Manchester in the UK. The main religion, I would say, like probably Christianity, but to be honest, Manchester or particularly the area that I grew up was quite of no particular religion, particularly practicing. Actually, I'd say in terms of practicing, it's a bigger Muslim majority now in particular areas within Manchester in terms of like the way people that go to the masjid and people that like there's more masjids I would say than churches around this area in particular.
Subhanallah. Interesting.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't grow up into any particular religion, and the schools around here, like it's not a particularly pious place from like a Christianity perspective. Maybe more villages around here, but like Manchester as a city is pretty it's not heavy on religion, I would say, but it's very diverse, subhanallah.
Okay. So were you an atheist or agnostic?
So yeah, I grew up in a family that was kind of atheist, I would say. I didn't go to any particularly religious school. Um, I didn't have any religious experience growing up at all. But I always believed in something. I just always had this like innate. I think that sometimes they call it like spiritual atheism when you sort of believe in like the universe, but you don't attribute it to anything. So I was sort of on that like that wave, I guess, for years and just always pondered that there was more, but I never knew anything. And actually, funnily enough, a few years ago, I picked up the Bible and I started just reading it really randomly out of nowhere. And I just wasn't like getting anything from it. And so yeah, that's essentially then a few years later was when I found the Quran and when I started to explore Islam as a religion. But yeah, it's been a wild journey, but I'd say that I have always had a belief in something
Mhm.
bigger
Did
than
you,
us.
did you have any misconceptions about Islam before studying it?
Mm, I'd say it's so funny. Somebody asked me this question actually recently, and like genuinely, no. I think that there were some things that, for example, like when you have a world that preaches feminism being like the opposite of, what I now see as feminism, it's easy to see that maybe there was like an oppression side to women covering, for example. But because I'd grown up, like the school that I went to was there was a lot of Muslims and a lot of hijab sisters there. So I didn't have this idea that like I didn't buy into the propaganda basically of the you know the anti-Islam westernized media that we have like is very anti-Islam. So no, I didn't have any major misconceptions, but I didn't know enough about the faith and the religion to embrace it at that point. Um, but all I had is an experience of people being kind and giving, mashallah. But I think that's because I grew up in a very diverse city.
This video is sponsored by the Stanley Quencher H2.0 tumbler, designed to keep your drinks ice cold for up to 11 hours and warm for up to 7 hours. With its ergonomic design, it fits perfectly in your hand and your cup holder. Available in a variety of stunning colors, there's one for every style. Click the link in the description to learn more. Tell us about how did you discover Islam, and what were some of the biggest factors that convinced you that Islam was the right path for you?
So definitely Palestine was a huge domino effect of learning in my life. I think I've particularly was drawn to this cause. I actually left a job that I was in at that point, so I had so much time to soak in what was going on in the greater world for the first time, really, to witness such suffering and oppression and have these people still thank God. I was like, wow, that is like a faith that I never knew existed, to see such like barbarity but still be grateful. And so that sort of like led me down a path of, well, and especially from like a what is just, like what is justice. I've always had a sense of justice and injustice and justice being served. And I had a lot of people around me sharing excerpts from the Quran talking about, well, this is our right. So it kind of just went on a big tangent from there. And an ex-colleague that I used to work with bought me a copy of the Quran, and I took it home and I started just reading it occasionally. And he got me a load of little books as well that were sort of like knowledge of the belief in the unseen, and all of these sort of mini little things. So I started to read them, and just I started to watch a lot of videos, and I sort of just went down this path for about 9 months until I finally took my shahada. And then I have never looked back, mashallah.
How did your family and friends respond to your decision?
Yeah, really, alhamdulillah, very, very supportive. I took my friends with me when I took my shahada. So my three close friends, I took them with me. And that was an amazing experience. And then I didn't tell my family for like 3 months, because, or maybe not that long, but just to sort of, I wanted to enjoy it for myself and to not have that sort of like, just in case, I didn't know what the reactions were going to be. So I was like, I know that I'm sure of this, so let me sit with that for a while and then bring you guys in when I feel like it's time. And sort of just waited for those cues in my life to happen, and they did, subhanallah. And then I think, initially maybe there was some resistance, because again, like, they maybe had different ideas of what Islam was, and still do. Like, I still have family members on like extended family members that think that I've been like radicalized. And so it's trying to educate people and myself along the way so that I can be ready for whatever, crops up for them, because I still am learning so much. But I just think it's a beautiful thing, and I love to try and help people understand the faith better, and inshallah guide them one day.
Tell us a little bit more about the day you converted. What emotions did you feel on that day?
It was, I was quite nervous actually, although it maybe nervous and excited have like the same sort of feeling. I think I obviously knew that everything would change, just in terms of, I had already started to live in an Islamic way for a while, even long before I sort of reverted. But I think, yeah, I knew that that was sort of like the moment that it would change. So it was a really slow moving day actually. It was one of those days that like never, time just went really, really slowly. But I've genuinely felt like after I took my shahada, I did it in the masjid and I felt physically like lighter. And I'd heard people say that. I'd heard people say that they feel this like weight, or they feel this sort of like divinity. And I definitely felt like, yeah, there was something that happened when I took my shahada, and then yeah, I haven't looked back. It was we went and celebrated afterwards, and yeah, it was really special to have like my three friends who I've known for one of them since I was, you know, like 4. So it was pretty cool for them to be there, having known me all these different versions of me, and now finally finding faith, which was really special.
What is your favorite aspect of Islam?
That's a good question. Um, I think I don't know how I would pick because I feel like if you asked me that tomorrow, it would be maybe different. But I think that just like the kindness and the giving aspect, like it's for example, like I was learning about statistically in the UK, the biggest the biggest charity givers, the biggest givers to causes in need is Muslims and Islam. Like that is by far. So it's just this like kindness and compassion and genuine like airlessness. I don't know how to explain it, but like since embracing it, I have this airlessness of like it doesn't matter. Like it's in his hands, it's not in my hands. So yes, we have free will and control, but I definitely feel that it is a faith that everybody that I meet, Muslim, that is in touch with their faith, has this just like unwavering like aura about them, and I feel like I have that, and that's a really beautiful thing. But I think just the kindness and compassion.
How
Yeah.
has your faith in Islam impacted your daily life?
Um in so many aspects. I think especially I'd sort of started to decolonize my mind before reverting in terms of what kind of things I followed online, what kind of music I was listening to, what I was buying. I'd started to sort of move away from a lot of what I used to do. So I think it has impacted me, my daily life a lot in terms of just like what I will worry about. I'm very conscious of complaining and, you know, just like for example, if it's like cloudy outside, I'm like maybe would have used to wake up and be like, oh, what a grey day, and like now it's just like I'm grateful to like wake up, whatever. And so I try and see everything as beautiful or as neutral, and not let outside things impact how I feel and how I show up. So I think just having a totally switched perspective, to be honest, and being really grateful for what we've been given, and also just like constantly having, especially during Ramadan. This is my first Ramadan as a Muslim, so
MashaAllah.
mashallah, and I'm really finding it so beautiful, just like this air of like clarity and stillness in your mind, and this and the constant remembrance of Allah, um,
So,
which I just find amazing. And um, yeah, I think it's just made me much more I wouldn't say like optimistic, because I think that's like I don't know, it's just at peace and contentment. It has brought a lot more of that into my life and reset my priorities.
are there any Muslim role models who have inspired you in your faith?
Malcolm X was a big one, and I've learned a lot more about him in recent months. Um, Less so like I guess he is a Muslim, but he sort of has preached about a lot more and talked about a lot more. Um, there's a few it's Dr. Haifa Eunice. She is amazing. She's sort of she does a lot of talks. But really, really and truly, like a lot of people physically and directly in my life have inspired me. Particularly in the Palestine protest scene, I've met so many Muslims through that through this movement that have shown me so much, and mashallah, so many revert sisters as well, from that community that just fight for the oppressed, and they show up and they give all of their time. I think that like seeing that firsthand was a massive thing in the lead up to reverting as well, was like immersing myself in and around these communities. It was inevitable really that I was gonna come towards Islam.
How can long-life Muslims be more welcoming to converts?
I think that again, it like I I don't know exactly how to answer that because everybody has been so helpful. I think that like every time I tell people that I revert, for example, they're like, please like let me know. That they're always like, if you have any questions, you can ask me. There is such an embracing of that. I think obviously there are just a lot of things that born Muslims may just do by second nature. And for reverts, it's brand new. So, for example, like praying is a whole new game when you're just learning how to pray at this age. Um, and so I guess just like, I don't think they need to do anything in particular from my experience anyway. I can only speak from my experience. Um, is I guess just like, yeah, have patience um with formalities and with, I guess, be willing to accept that maybe it will take longer for reverts be to have the formalities that you have, for example, like greeting people or what you say to people, like all of these things that you can learn right quite easily, but this is something that's been second nature for born Muslims. And so stepping into a world, especially when your brain's already formed, so you're like trying to relearn a lot of new things. But yeah, I think if you that I was saying that your channel and things like this are really helpful because revert content is massively like blowing up, and I've found a lot of knowledge and questions and answers from channels like this. So I think we all just have to do our bit in making that community approachable.
Alhamdulillah, I'm truly glad to hear that. Are there any specific Islamic goals you have for yourself?
Um, I would love to learn. I would love to learn Quranic Arabic. I really would, inshallah. Like I think
Oh,
it's it's beautiful to read and understand the Quran, right? But there's only so much that I can understand because I feel like a lot of it just cannot be translated very well into English. Um, so I would love to learn Arabic, Quranic Arabic specifically, or Egyptian Arabic, or just one any version of Arabic, right? But it would be amazing to listen to the Quran and understand it in the language it was revealed in. And I would say like if it is willed and decreed for me to memorize the Quran, that would be amazing. But I would
wow, okay,
definitely
inshallah. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
inshallah.
gives you that honor.
But I would also, if children are decreed for me, I would love to have them memorize the Quran as well. Um, but yeah, just to keep learning really. I think especially learning about the earth, about creation itself, about like what has been created. I think rather than just like Islam encourages you, right, to constantly learn and constantly seek knowledge. So I think seek knowledge about Islam, yes, but also about the world.
Megan, I want to thank you for being my guest, and it was truly a pleasure to have you here.
It's been amazing to thank you for having me and asking me on. It's I've wanted to do actually to make some kind of Revert video for a while, but I was just lazy. So it's good, really, mashallah, that you asked me because you've helped me accomplish that goal.
Alhamdulillah, it was written for us.
It was written for us, you're right.
Exactly. Thank you for watching. If you or someone you know has a story of embracing Islam, we'd love to hear it. Your journey could inspire and uplift others. Feel free to reach out to share your story on this channel. Let's continue to celebrate the beauty of faith and the diversity of our experiences. Please share this video and don't forget to subscribe for more meaningful content. See you in the next one, inshallah.